Welcome to episode 1 of playing different dueling decks on Dueling Book. For the first episode, I'll be playing pure Mekk-knights. This is, just take a quick look at the list I'm on. 3 purple, 3 Girsu, 3 blue sky, 3 Gamma Seal, Pankratops, Mystic Minds, Pots, Evenlies, yada yada yada. It's fairly standard side deck, nothing too special. Fairly standard extra deck. We'll see some of the more interesting stuff in the game. So I'll just be doing a single, just in the interest of time. So I'll be doing a little bit of discussion about the deck while we're waiting for my opponent to combo, since we are playing a going second deck, and you will have to watch your opponent combo for a lot of the time while playing Mekk-knights. It's an unfortunate truth, but the deck is still fun, and I enjoy playing it. You might be asking why I have the authority to talk about Mekk-knights. I came second place in the Dragon Duel WCQ, the NA one, playing Mekk-knights, pure Mekk-knights, so I believe I am, at minimum, a fairly good Mekk-knight player, and that is my specialty deck. I've been playing it for like 4 years now, ever since I got into the game, and I've been a bit on and off with it. I've played a couple other decks, mainly like Salamangreat was one that I played a lot of, but yeah, it's been a lot of Mekk-knights. So it's taking a little while to find an opponent, but here we go. Paper game. It's fine. You actually do want to lose the dice roll playing Mekk-knights, because you don't want your opponent to know that you're blinding second, or that raises the chance they'll play around columns. So, Mystic Mine is a lot of the times enough to win games just on its own. Mystic Mine plus Girsu is always a really strong hand, unless your opponent's playing decks that create spell trap negates. That's a large weakness to this build. Sprite is really strong against this build, and you end up having large problems against it. Zombie World. Zombie World is crazy strong versus this deck, since it's very recursive, and it doesn't just spaz its whole hand out onto the first turn board and then lose on the crackback. So this might turn into a hard matchup, but luckily the Zombie World shouldn't affect us that much. We will be unable to go into the Orcus package, but that's perfectly fine. Hopefully the Mystic Mind should be able to stop any interesting plays, and hopefully they're not on the Eldritch variant. Yep, I do not believe they are on the Eldritch variant. I believe this is pure zombie. And, ooh, vampire cards. So, yep, this deck does not build any sort of spell trap negates, so my Mystic Mind should be able to single-handedly out the whole board. Unfortunately, the Doom King Ballardrock is incredibly powerful, but they will end up losing it to my Mystic Mind. So, well, not losing it, but it will not be able to activate any of its effects, so it's as good as gone. My opponent is just running through standard zombie combo lines. Luckily, this is not a very long combo, so I'll be able to play within a reasonable amount of time. A Mystic Mind should be able to out this whole board. I'm looking for a purple or a blue off the top, or like an evenly matched would be really nice. I would then not have to go for my Mystic Mind if I can pull out an evenly matched off the top. My opponent is pretty hard into the vampire cards, which is not usual for most zombie lists. Most of them like to play more trap cards instead of the vampire stuff. But, to each their own. To each their own. Vampire Retainer is going off. I'm not sure if any of you guys know what any of these cards do. I know they were good in Duel Links, but that's about it. I think they do, like, a counter trap, maybe, which may end up not being good, but I'm not sure if he's playing it. Standard Vampire Sucker for the bring back of the Doom King Ballardrock. I don't know what's going on. Usually you'd send Ballardrock to the grave so you can get your draw. But I guess that's not needed here. So, in this case, I actually do not need to do anything at all, because I can just drop a Kaiju and start comboing instead, since he's not set up any negates. So, under most circumstances, you do not actually want to Mystic Mine. Mystic Mine is kind of you don't prefer. You do not want to have to Mystic Mine in 90% of situations, but it's okay if you have to. In most situations, you do just want a combo. If because most of the time when you play Mystic Mine, you're still going to be comboing anyway, and comboing under Mystic Mine in some circumstances isn't very easy. So it's much easier to combo without having to use your Mystic Mine if you can be sure to clear all the negates before you go into it. So remember, off the Gearsu, you can summon tokens. You can summon the token to a zone that you choose. Don't let your opponent try to move the token. Make sure it goes into a zone that is to create 2. Then from these 2, just go straight into the lib. Oops, misclick. Go straight into the lib, and make sure you don't need any extenders, and that you'd be perfectly fine going for lib. Once the lib resolves, you almost always want to grab secret. Secret being probably your strongest trap. Now, I know I need to get into the purple and blue sky line, and I don't need to make any more non-Mekk-knight monsters for the rest of the turn, since I can just make a Morning Star, and then I can make Avermax, obviously. So I can go for Memory. Memory can bring out a purple Nightfall. Purple Nightfall effect will be activated. In case you're wondering, one of the strongest places to hand trap a Mekk-knight deck is in the purple Nightfall, because then I lose a lot of the recursion that I would be able to do in most circumstances in which I'm able to resolve purple. Since it does come back every single one of my standbys, and I can usually even sometimes get 2 of them coming back each standby. It gets incredibly powerful and a little bit broken, so always be sure to stop the purple if able. Now, off of my Mekk-knight Blue Sky, I can go for an Indigo Eclipse and a Red Moon. The Indigo Eclipse will get summoned out of the hand, and the 2 will get linked off to make Mekk-knight of the Morning Star. I'll then be able to activate Mekk-knight of the Morning Star's effect, discarding World Legacy Succession, to add now a copy of World Legacy Memory to summon a purple out of the deck during my opponent's turn, and it'll also pair well with the secret, allowing me to have an extra negate. Then, linking these 2 together, I will make Mekk-knight Crusadia Avermax, and I will declare Lib's effect, allowing me to shuffle Zombie World back into the deck. I am attempting to get a field spell off of his board, so the Doom King Balladrock will be unable to come back to life during the standby phase. Mekk-knight of the Red Moon will be summoned, and its effect allows me to banish a Mekk-knight engraved to destroy a monster in its column. One major thing to note about the effect is that it is not once per turn, and many times I've resolved it even 2 or 3 times per turn. Using Indigo Eclipse, you can move it to different columns, allowing it to destroy even more monsters. In this situation, I won't need to, since I'll be able to clear the Kaiju with my Avermax. Avermax will then gain the attack equal to the attack of a special summon monster, pretty much always dealing 3,000 damage on every attack. Then, entering main phase 2, I'll be able to set my memory and pass the turn. So, my situation is looking really good. My opponent having 3 cards in hand, and me having access to a nearly full skill drain off of the World Legacy Secret plus memory. Any monster summoned to my opponent's extra monster zone will get negated. So long as they don't have any sort of MST or way to negate Secret, I should be able to win. So, whenever your opponent summons a monster you've never heard of, make sure to read it. Send another vampire from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard. Make sure your opponent resolves the cost. As it does with a semicolon, add a level 4 higher vampire from the deck, and if you do, so long effect, I'm not going to read the rest of it. I'm going to activate World Legacy Secret, targeting Indigo to negate. A large mistake that people make when reading this card and just resolving their effects is whether or not Vampire Ghost is on the field at resolution, the effect will still be negated. If my opponent activated a Super Poly or anything else that would move the location of Vampire Ghost, the effect will still be negated so long as red moon is in the column at resolution. Now, once Secret is resolved, I can be fairly confident that this game is over. I have another summon out of the deck off of memory, and if anything else is to go wrong, I can activate Indigo Eclipse's effect to move it to a different column to negate something else. This game should be in the bag. I am not worried at all. Vampire Familiar is going to resolve as I cannot really negate it or do much. My opponent's going to pay 500 to add a vampire from deck to hand, and I will be activating memory to special summon Purple Nightfall to the same column as that monster. Its effect will then be negated, and with my opponent with only one card left in hand, unless that card is... Yeah, I'm not really sure. I guess maybe Mystic Mine would be really good right here. But that is about it. This deck has a really hard time versus Mystic Mine. I do main deck the one Harpy's Feather Duster as the out, but that's about it. Getting Mystic Mine in this deck is really hurtful, but as you are going second deck, most of the time you do not have to worry about that. So my opponent's still trying to bait out everything I have. Oh, and realizing that I'd be able to move my Indigo Eclipse over to that zone, I could end the game. Now, as an example, they would most likely pass, as I'm assuming that last card in hand would have been nothing. During my turn, I would have drawn. The Purple Nightfall would have come back. This would have gone back to my hand off of memory. And I could have summoned it right back out of my hand, flipped this into attack mode, and I have far over game on board. So, thanks for watching my tutorial on how to play Mekk-knights. I'll be probably back again playing this deck in other episodes. Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe.